My people, it don't happen as they talk to now. Oba Elegushi don't land for another wahala. Hey, hey. They don't dey drag Oba Elegushi back to back. Say, Oba Elegushi, where you this is all this why? Where you know where you know fit declare Oro? Why be say that this day of election, now you dey declare Oro on the 18th, where people they do election. Now you want chase them for them not to vote to do the right thing wey they supposed to do. Now Oba Elegushi don declare say Oro go there for Saturday o. Or now when I won't come outside to go vote, make una be careful. Now a lot of people don dey worry say Oba Elegushi dey put fear for people mind. Some people they toss it, they go whether Oba Elegushi like am or you no like am. My people wahala don tie wrapper o, everywhere don scatter, table leg don break o, no be small thing o. A lot of people they drag Oba Elegushi left and right, whether Oba Elegushi go change mouth. My people as they talk to una so, my people, no be small thing o. They don drag Oba Elegushi come outside say Oba Elegushi, this on election time. This one at the time wey be say people won't go vote. Why be saying at that time na Oro won't come outside? Why exactly that day? Una know say also they postpone this election. Normal this election supposed hold on the 11th of March, but unfortunately INEC postpone am because INEC dey feel say again one or two things wey they need to do. Now they add 1 week join am. Now on Saturday they need to do the election. Now that Saturday don't reach now. Where be say Oba Elegushi dey talk say Oro dey. Una see no say front of Oba Elegushi palace where they vote for the polling unit. A lot of things happen for there where a lot of people they talk say may they vote this one, may they not vote that one. According to the way we take say for social media, my people. Now another one don't see happen where they don't they drag Oba Elegushi say Oba Elegushi this on election, governorship election. Everybody need to vote their own candidate where they like. Why declaring Oro on election day? My people make una go hear from the people wey be say they don't finally contract Oba Elegushi go to national TV, my people.
Suddenly remembering that he wants to worship Oro and is declaring Oro during the period when people should be out.
Well, I think we've had a clarification on that. He said the Oro rights will go up until Friday.
If you have had clarification on that, there was another one in social media today, some bearded clown talking about another Oro again. Yet this was the same person that was caught on camera during the presidential poll. So you have a situation where you can speak about the political class in a situation where you have a political class. What we're dealing with is a criminal class that is determined to hold the people down by force of arms or whatever it takes. They are making this about tribe because there is no record to place before the people. We've had 24 years. 24 years. My people have a proverb. They say, iṣẹ́ tó ṣe ọmọ ológun ọdún, ìyà tó jẹ ọmọ ọlọ́gbọ̀n oṣù. Tíṣẹ́ òun ò bá pa ọmọ, ó yẹ kó dẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn ọmọ.
Okay. Well, we are going to have to temper our language a bit.
Let's
temper our language a bit.
Don't worry.
National television, so we have to be very careful.
Temitope, I hear you, but let me say this. I am not a frivolous man. I did spend some years practicing some type of law before I retired as a lawyer. So I'm well advised as to the possible legal liability of any word that I might use. So anything I'm saying, take it as a given that before I would open my mouth to say so, I know as a fact that what I'm saying is the truth and I have absolute fact standing behind it. And because you have said so, let me explain myself. Over 2 years ago, I sat in this same studio and I announced to everyone that there was a murder plot over my life. And I then went on, this was after I had submitted petitions to the DSS and to the State Commissioner of Police. Up until today, in this state, in a country governed by law, nothing has been done. Some of those persons are the ones busy going around threatening people again today. I've been coming to your TV studio for a while. This is the first time in years since I've been coming here that I'll see armed soldiers required to protect what is supposed to be free press. So we're dealing with a situation where even though we might pretend that we're dealing with normalcy, there is nothing normal about our situation. If the people are allowed to vote in a free and fair election, these people are over. That's the truth. They have no record to place before the people. Only intimidation, blackmail, ethnic division, religious division, all sorts of divisions in order to keep the people from seeing the truth of what they should be facing. Was it the Igbos that have been digging up roads in Lagos State over the last 24 years? Has the Igbos been the one that have stopped the rail that has taken 7 kilometers or thereabout that has taken 16 years to construct? Was it in the Igbo that has stopped that? Who is the person who is busy selling all of Lagos to people that is now shouting about Igbo, Igbo? There is just a validation of hatred in order to divide the people's attention so that they might not face the issue. The real issues are about a collapsing state, a collapsing country. They might want to forget all of that and distract our attention.
Let me just interrupt you briefly.
Please.
Earlier you talked about criminal gangs, being given free hand to run.
Yes.
And of course we've seen all sorts of posts and videos on social media that could be characterized as hate speech. But sadly, nobody has been arrested, nobody has been prosecuted. So I'm wondering, is it that there are no laws against such, or is it that the laws are not being implemented? If the laws are not being implemented, how do we enforce that?
I've been shouting for years, in pretty much the same seat, talking about the fact that we are not a country governed by law, and that we are a country governed by impunity, that our policemen pretend to uphold the law, but they know that they dare not uphold the laws. If they tried it, their political masters will end up in prison cells. So what you end up having is the administration of impunity, and that is what governs Nigeria. So these people you call criminal gangs, that I will also call criminal gangs, they are not really criminal gangs in the classic sense. They are part and parcel of the governance process of Lagos State and practically the whole of Nigeria. Because you were there, people saw pictures. There, right there in broad daylight, policeman standing, the evidence of the state. In Yoruba language, you call policemen Olopa. Olopa actually emanates from the person who carries the staff of office. The Oba staff of office is insignia and authority. So in the Yoruba's mind, the Olopa is the symbol and representation of the state. You saw policemen at multiple locations standing aside while thugs, quote and unquote, we call them thugs, but they are not thugs. These are stakeholders in the governance of the state. The BBC had a documentary where they had MC Mushroom Pikin calling governor. That is what we are all pretending we do not see. And that is what they are hiding behind the hatred that they are stirring up all over the place. So you and I will call them gangs because that tickles our fancy and it helps us to deodorize those who wear bow ties, wear suits, wear agbada, sit down in your studio and speak Dogon Turenchi to cover up for those who are carrying guns and are threatening everybody else's peace. The reality is that they are not criminal gang in the true sense of it. They are part and parcel of the governance of Lagos State and have been for the last 24 years.
So if we say we are a state or maybe a country governed by impunity, how then do we change this narrative? You said you've been here several times talking about the same issue. So that in case for you not to come back in a few months' time talking about this, what then would you say is the way forward?
There is no danger of me coming back in a few months' time to say this. And I'll tell you why. Ultimately, if people get the kind of government they deserve, the Nigerian people can blame Tinubu, they can blame Abiola and Obasanjo, blame this, blame that. Ultimately, they bear the responsibility for the governance of their country. When you find people who knows the truth but finds a basis to justify their hatred, which blinds them from what they should see, they are telling you all of a sudden that a person born of a Yoruba parent to an Igbo mother is no longer a Yoruba. They are justifying hatred. These same people were so progressive in their thinking that they were the first to start appointing Igbo commissioners. There is somebody from Kano in Lagos State. So they are progressive when they need to be, but when it serves their purposes to demonize in order to divide, they remember very quickly. All of a sudden, look, at the end of the day, they want us to have these asinine debates, debating nonsense when we should be facing issues. The issues are, how is it impossible in a state that is more or less underwater that the whole of Lekki Peninsula does not have a square inch of pipe-borne water after 24 years of the genius of Bodilon? How is it that in Lagos State, we still do not have a coherent education system and nobody who can afford it will send his child to a government school? And that is when the government school is even available. You have less than 3 out of 10 classroom spaces in Lagos State owned by the state. And how good are those schools? Those are the questions we should be asking, but they will prefer that we are not asking those questions. They will prefer that we are talking about his Baba is Igbo, his mother is this, his hype-up, is that. Nonsense. Those are the distractions, and it is up to the people to either allow themselves to switch on their brains and decide what is in their own enlightened selfish interest, or they continue to allow their enemies to point at their enemies for them. I have made up my own mind. When all this is over, Nigerians will live with the consequences of their choices, because at the end of the day, even where they did not choose, such as the last election, where we chose across the country in overwhelming numbers, they have started applying tribal and ethnic sentiments in order to divide what was a nationwide cohesive mandate and divide it to portray it as an ethnic agenda. And Nigerians are the ones who are receiving it in spite of what they know. So it's really, you can, if you set yourself on fire, the blind still wouldn't see. So what's the point? I hate to say this, but they say when the Agama fell from on top of the Iroko tree, he beat his head. He said, yes, I have tried. It shall be said that I did my best, so don't worry. It's unlikely you'll find me in your studio. I'll go and take care of my wife and my children and face my own business. I've tried my best. It will be up to Nigerians to decide their own future.
Well, just before you retire, we're still going to ask you a few more questions.
Please.
And I would like to make use of your legal knowledge. Now, for those that have fallen victim of this ethnic tension, for instance, we've heard of shops of Igbo traders being burnt. We've heard that some people have been threatened physically not to dare come out and vote on election day if they're not voting for a particular candidate or a particular party and so on. So can this set of people maybe sue for compensation? And if they do, who would be held liable?
Let me talk where we ask these questions about a society that is far from ideal. I practice law.
But surely there must be somewhere we can run to. People say the judiciary is the last.
My people, now the video now on a new watch really so. And I see what happen for inside the video. Alright, my people, I would like to end the video for you. Make sure let me know what you all take for the comment section. And if you never subscribe, make sure subscribe so that you will miss any little gist way I upload. And I'm about to like will start. Bye guys, catch my next video. Bye guys.